Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Tap Rants Episode 2. The last Tap Rants was a couple months ago, and I talked about the Activision cease and desist letter that came out where they stopped all these mods that were just trying to keep the game alive on PC. They shut them all down. No mods allowed if you are playing Call of Duty on PC. And we have some more topics to talk about today, one of them being Call of Duty, but we're not going to start out that one. We're going to start out with Red Dead Redemption, the port of Red Dead coming to the PS4 and the Switch. So here's the deal. There was rumors for many months that there was going to be some sort of remaster or remake, even that a lot of people were speculating there could be a remake. Basically, because Red Dead 2 had the whole Red Dead 1 map in it, a lot of people thought, oh, they're going to remake Red Dead 1 for the PS5, and it's just basically going to be Red Dead 1 with Red Dead 2's graphics. And that was not the case, as they released a trailer about a week before they released the game for PS4 and for Switch. And this was a port of the PS3 game, Red Dead Redemption, that was announced for the PS4 and the Switch. And that's it. No PS5 version. No, not even an Xbox version, which is funny. We're going to get into that. Now, the reason they released this port, obviously is because all these games on the PS3 are just stranded on an island, being that the PS3 had a cell processor. The PS3 games are all stranded because you basically had to develop the game specifically for the PS3. Sony can't even figure out, or they're having a hard time figuring out how to make these games playable on PS4 and the PS5. So basically, Sony shot themselves in the foot. And so Rockstar released not even a remake or remaster, just a port of the original Red Dead for the PS4, also for the Switch, which is where red flags should have been going off. But now we have a situation where Red Dead is on the PS4, so it's playable on the PS5, but really we probably should have looked at the fact that the PS5 doesn't even have Red Dead 2. If you want to play PS5 Red Dead 2, you're going to be playing the PS4 version, which is fine. The game's gorgeous regardless, but the issue is that neither of these games are technically PS5 games. It's not really an issue because you can play them, but what I find funny is about a year ago, or 2 years ago, around the time I got a Series X, I think I got the Series X in April of 2022, or maybe April of 2021. I got it in 2021. And I remember reading that they came out with a update for Red Dead. You could buy Red Dead, and on top there it says Xbox One, Xbox 360, but there's a little sticker that says playable on Series X. And that's because they came out with an update where you can play this game in 4K, and it's the original game. And this came with Undead Nightmare. I got this at Walmart for $19.99 about a year ago, and I actually have never even opened it, as you can see. Now, this port of the PS4 and Switch, the PS4 Switch port of Red Dead, it's ridiculous. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. So, for starters, it's on the Switch, which means, if we would have found out it was rumored to be on the Switch, it would have been dead in the water anyways. Obviously, we didn't find out officially until it was the same time. But obviously, a remastered version of Red Dead ain't gonna run on the Switch, or a remake. Like a PS5 Red Dead is not gonna run on the Switch as well. It's gonna look horrible. I mean, obviously there are some games that are on the PS5 and on the Switch, but they're all so much worse on the Switch. Really, besides games like maybe Hades or Vampire Survivor, something that's not too crazy, you're doing yourself a disservice playing any third-party AAA, or third-party AAA game on the Switch, because they're so much better on the Series X or the PS5. There's no reason to play Mortal Kombat on the Switch, as much as you may want to. And I have it. It doesn't run that good. It looks decent. It runs all right. It's not bad. It's not horrible, but I also have it on the PS5, so why would I play that on the Switch? I got it just for if I'm laying in bed and I'm bored. And that's the point of the Switch, is to be able to do those things. But realistically, there's no point. So if you're planning on playing Red Dead, or if you got excited for Red Dead and went from, PS3 to Switch and PS4, it's okay, well, obviously the PS4 version ain't going to be that hot because it's on the Switch as well. Now, the issue is the issue that arose is that the PS4 version does not have multiplayer. They're charging you $50 for a game that came out in 2010. I believe 2010, maybe 2011, but I believe it came out in 2010. They're charging you $50 for a game that came out in 2010 without multiplayer. Now, I would argue that one of Red Dead's strongest features is its multiplayer. Going into the free roam mode, playing with your friends, go play some blackjack, go rob some people, go start. Because the great thing about Red Dead, two good things about the multiplayer. One was the free roam mode where you could go do whatever you want. And two, the actual multiplayer matches. There was like capture the flag, I think, but it was like a money bag. There was like a team deathmatch type mode. So Red Dead really, it wasn't just the story. And even then, like this, it has Undead Nightmare. The PS4 and the Switch ports also come with Undead Nightmare. It's one of the greatest pieces of DLC ever made. But do not forget, Undead Nightmare also had a multiplayer part to it, where it was 4-player co-op, and you just fought waves and waves and waves of zombies until you died, just like Call of Duty had. And so, like, I don't think it's right for them to be charging you $50 for a game that's 13 years old and it's only half the game. Are you kidding me? It should be $10. What a joke. Now, you could go on the Series X, and that's why this is so funny. This is the full version of the game. This is Red Dead with multiplayer, with Undead Nightmare. This is everything right here. This is the whole game. I got it for $19.99 a year ago, whatever. I could pop it into my Series X right now and get a 4K Red Dead experience, full game, no ifs, ands, or buts, no nothing. DLC, everything. How can we continue to let companies get away with shit like this? It's ridiculous. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I understand, like, I personally, and I've made videos before on the channel about it, so you guys would know if you follow my channel. BioShock 2 had a remastered collection that came out in 2016, or BioShock had a remastered collection, the whole series. It had BioShock, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite. Now, BioShock 2 had a multiplayer component, and I personally loved BioShock 2 multiplayer. I have many videos on the channel of me playing it. You could go find them. It's very easy to find. Everything on my channel is in a playlist. You could go find every BioShock 2 multiplayer I made. It's in the gameplay commentaries playlist, and BioShock 2 multiplayer to me was underrated. It's a niche thing. Not a lot of people played it, but it was fun. I found it enjoyable, and I was disappointed when it wasn't in BioShock 2's remaster collection. I still think it's BS, but I understand you're not playing BioShock for multiplayer because this was the era of tacked on multiplayer. This was the era where every game had multiplayer, whether you liked it or not. You didn't have to play it, but it's going to be there. And that's the thing is, BioShock 2 multiplayer or Red Dead Redemption 2 multiplayer is not the same thing, really, because BioShock 2 multiplayer was tacked on. Did I still enjoy it, and did I wish it was in the remaster collection? Yes, I'd play it all the time if it was. Instead, I have to play on the PC, and there's really not that many matches in BioShock 2 multiplayer on the PC. It's hard to find. You have to basically be a part of the Discord, and you have to play when other people are playing. You have to almost schedule it. But Red Dead multiplayer is a whole different animal. I mean, there's a reason why they put free roam mode back in Red Dead 2. You can go back in Red Dead 2 and play online multiplayer. Because it's fun. People want to do it. Why take it away and still charge all this money? It's complete Rockstar greed. And it's a shame, because I've never been a big Rockstar guy. The only games I played by Rockstar are The Warriors, Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption 2. And I played Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories on the PSP. But I've never been a Grand Theft Auto guy. It's never interested me in the slightest. I don't know why. I just never cared. Now, GTA Vice City Stories was fun on the PSP, but I never sat down and played Grand Theft Auto ever. I've sat down and sunk hours upon hours upon hours into Red Dead 2, Red Dead Revolver, which is the OG. And it's funny to me that, like, they just don't include the multiplayer. And another more common example of this is The Last of Us. Now, this kind of falls in between BioShock and Red Dead to me, because like I said, BioShock 2's multiplayer was tacked on and not really super important to the game. Like, you don't think of BioShock and think of multiplayer. But to me, I could see people thinking of Red Dead, the Red Dead series, and thinking of multiplayer. And another, like I said, another kind of in between here is Last of Us Factions. Now, when The Last of Us remaster came out in 2014, like right after Last of Us came out, and then the PS4 came out, and then they put a remaster out for the PS4, for the PS3 version that had multiplayer, and that was fine. That's cool. But then they came out with The Last of Us remake, which is basically what they did, what a lot of people were expecting them to do with Red Dead, where it's basically the first game with Last of Us Part 2's graphics. You know, a lot of people thought it was going to be a Red Dead remake with Red Dead 2's graphics. Now, there wasn't any reason for people to think that. There was never any concrete evidence that it was going to be a remake, so it's a lot of hyperbole on the part of the fans. But still, you don't think of The Last of Us and think of multiplayer. You think of The Last of Us, you think of Joel and Ellie and the story. But Factions was so much fun, and it had such a following that Sony and Naughty Dog were making a Last of Us Factions separate. Well, it was supposed to be with Last of Us Part 2, but it didn't come out in time, and then it was going to be its own separate thing, Factions. We've been waiting on it for like 3 or 4 years at this point, Last of Us Factions, and we haven't seen it. And then we got some news a couple months ago that essentially Sony has hired Bungie. You know, they bought Bungie, and the point of having Bungie was for them to help their other studios make like live service games. And apparently Bungie took a look at Last of Us Factions and said, this shit ain't it. So now Factions is either completely dead, or it's going to be back to the drawing board and it's going to be even longer. But the point is, Sony knew that Factions was a hit. That's why they were making it a standalone thing, because they're like, wow, Factions was so good, we can have this out on its own merits. It doesn't need to be connected to a game. Now, why wouldn't you then include the original Factions with the Last of Us remake? Especially now that the new Factions might not even come out. It'd at least be nice to play the old one. So I think overall, regardless of whether companies like it or not, they should be including the multiplayers. I don't care if it's tacked on or not, because it doesn't at the end of the day hurt you. Like, if you don't want to play the multiplayer, don't play it. But the idea that it's like hurting something to include it, like, oh, it's going to take more time to remaster because then you got to have servers. It's like, what a joke. Like, why do we have to eliminate things people enjoyed just to cost, you know, it's already a cost-cutting thing as is, to be like, oh, we're going to come out with a remaster of Red Dead, not include the multiplayer. You know, so basically they didn't want to pay to have someone go in there and redo the multiplayer. They probably didn't want to pay to have servers up for people to play on, you know. But then, not only are you saving money by doing that, but then you're going to charge us $50 for the game. Are you serious? That's insane. Like I said, I've never been a Rockstar guy. The one game I've always wanted to play, and I plan on doing it and reviewing it on this channel, is Bully. I really want to play Bully. I have never played it. I believe I do have it. I bought it like years ago, and I still haven't played it. I bought the PS4 version to play it backwards compatible, and I am going to play it one of these days. I am going to do a review on it, but really the only thing that's not in the Red Dead universe I played is the Warriors, and I love the Warriors. The Warriors is based on a 1979 movie. They made it into a game in like 2006, and it's amazing. The Warriors is great. So I am like a pseudo fan of Rockstar. Like I said, I'm not a Grand Theft Auto guy, but I'm really disappointed in what they're doing. Because first of all, how do you not come out with some sort of story DLC for Red Dead 2? Like, what are you doing? Undead Nightmare was a hit. You want to know why it's a hit? Because 13 years later, they can't sell the game without it, because it's that good. Now, obviously, when games are older, they come out and they include DLC with them. That's nothing new. But Undead Nightmare was amazing. And for them to not only ruin the base game, but you don't even have the multiplayer for Undead Nightmare, Man, that's a bad look for Rockstar. Do better, guys. That's horrible. All right, so the second topic here has to do with the new Call of Duty game. Now, there's been many issues here with this whole rollout for this new game. And I'm going to lay them out for you right now. And this is something I have been pretty pissed about reading it. It's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Let me get into it. So, Modern Warfare 2 came out in 2022. Now, Modern Warfare 2 in 2022 was actually Modern Warfare 2 2 because in 2009 there already was a Modern Warfare 2. Now, in 2023, there's going to be a Modern Warfare 3 that comes out that actually has Modern Warfare 2 maps, but it's not Modern Warfare 2 from 2022, it's Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. So let me go over it one more time. The rollout for the game, I was going to say album rollout, I can't think of the word, the promotion, I guess, for Modern Warfare 3 is that it's going to have all 16 original Modern Warfare 2 maps. Now, like I said, Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. Modern Warfare 3 is the sequel to Modern Warfare 2, which came out in 2022, but they're basically going to put the original Modern Warfare 2 maps in Modern Warfare 3. Why didn't they just put the original Modern Warfare 2 maps in Modern Warfare 2 2022? Do you see what's going on here? Is this not the dumbest thing you've ever heard in your life? Why does it have to be like this? I'll tell you why. Modern Warfare 3 is a DLC for Modern Warfare 2 2022, essentially, but it's going to include the Modern Warfare 2 2009 maps. Why couldn't you just make new maps that don't suck? What's the problem? I don't get it. Why is it that we have to continually recycle the same shit over and over and over and over again? And besides, they just fixed all the servers. People have been playing the old Call of Duty games. Why would I want to play the old maps on a new game that sucks when I can play the old maps on the old game that's good? I don't understand. Now, Modern Warfare 2 is one of my favorite games ever made. 2009 Modern Warfare 2. And so, in my Activision cease and desist video, I had said that I didn't want to play the new game. And it's going to be a little hard for me to abstain from a game that's got all old Modern Warfare 2 maps. But if the game still sucks, what's the point? Now, if I could find some sort of way to play it, maybe I'll download the beta and then just cancel my order or something like that, so I could at least play it a little bit. But man, it's disgusting. Skill-based matchmaking, I'm sure, is still going to be alive and well, but the whole hype build up to the new game has been an embarrassing thing. It's disgusting me to even look at it. We're going to pull it up and read it. Let's go. Okay, if you go on Twitter, or as the kids call it these days, X, and you type in @Call of Duty and then space features, you'll find a thread posted by the Call of Duty account 5 days ago, and I'm going to have it up on the screen here. And this is how they're hyping up their game. Here we go. Get your first details about Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, including maps, gameplay, mechanics, and more. Iconic maps at launch. Modern gameplay. My voice is kind of cracked right there. And then it goes on to list every single map in the original Modern Warfare 2, plus 3 large-scale battle maps and 1 colossal war map. I don't even know what that means. Now, gameplay evolutions. Get ready for this. Tac stance trades precise accuracy for improved mobility and handling. That kind of sounds like the perk Stalker from Modern Warfare 3 2011. Build your loadout with military equipment such as gloves, vests, boots, and more. Wow. Are we talking about a game where you can put on clothes and it changes how your character acts? I have literally never seen that before. Aftermarket parts lead to new customization, progression, and challenges. I don't even know what that means, so we're just not going to touch that one. Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer features at launch. This is where it gets really laughable. Map voting returns. Wow. We get to vote for the maps we play for. We were doing that in 2007. Classic minimap behavior with red dots for unsuppressed weapons. Wow. We were doing that in 2007. Covert sneakers perk allows for silent movement. Wow, sounds like dead silence. When were we doing that? Oh, I remember 2007. Core health is increased to 150 for an increased time to kill. So you're telling me that the game, you're not going to get fried in 2 seconds like in Modern Warfare 2? You're going to have a little more time to react? The time to kill is not going to be too high? Wow. I remember when games didn't have such a high time to kill. Do you know what year that was? 2007. But there's more. Movement updates in Modern Warfare 3. Slide animations can be canceled, but will not reset tactical sprint. Wow. So they made it to where you can slide cancel, like in Modern Warfare 2019. Wow. Cancel reload animations to return fire with leftover ammo. You know when they had that? I don't know, 2007? Mantle faster and while sprinting. Wow, you can jump over something quick. Longer tactical sprint durations, which recharges while sprinting. Wow. So you can move quick. Unbelievable. What else? What else do we have here? That's it. Who cares? Here's the problem with Call of Duty. Why do they take features away from the game that make the game dramatically worse and then give them back to you a year later when they could have just patched all the stuff into the game they just made? The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing over there at Activision. Sledgehammer is going to make Infinity Ward possibly look really bad because all these things that they're putting into the new game is what was asked for from the last game. Now, if they do make all these improvements, perhaps the game will be good and maybe I'll want to play it. Now, if there's skill-based matchmaking, I'm out. And you notice that's the one thing that doesn't get mentioned in that list of stuff. Now, what's funny about that is whenever somebody makes a list, like on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, whenever somebody makes a video, they list all those things that they're fixing. They'd be like, oh, this is the problem with the game. This is the problem. We need dead silence back. We need classic minimap, blah, blah, blah. Skill-based matchmaking would also be mentioned in every single video and every single thread that's ever been posted about Call of Duty in the last 5 years. So it's quite funny that they choose to not mention it, talk about it, nothing. No fix for skill-based matchmaking. And you can't tell me that they don't see it because that's literally I just basically read to you a list of grievances that fans have had for 5 years, and now they're making it a selling point of the game. I cannot believe that taking features away and adding them back is the selling point, and adding maps from literally Modern Warfare 2 came out in 2009. You're adding maps from 14 years ago as a selling point. You're adding features back in the game from, I don't know, I think you could probably reload cancel in the original Call of Duty, and that came out in 2003. 20 years ago. Some of these features came out 20 years ago, and we're adding them back into the game, and we're supposed to celebrate it? Really? Are you fucking serious? That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. It makes no sense. Why do these developers continue to just get away with all of this shit that I'm talking about in this video? The standards of gamers has gone so low. You give them you could give a gamer a dog treat and he'll be like so thankful. It's disgusting. Have some gumption. If you don't like it, don't play it. I haven't played Modern Warfare 2 since February. Admittedly, I played so much League play, I got burnt out. You know why I was playing so much League play? It's because it kind of felt like a throwback to Black Ops 2 when League play was like the thing to play. And you know what's fun about League play? Is that when you play League play, it's competitive. But if you don't want the competitive gameplay, you go back to public matches. But you can't do that in the current games. You know, I used to have games in Black Ops 2 where I'd get like dogs, dogs, Blackbird, dogs, and Swarm. And I would go like 68-3. And then eventually I'd be like, okay, my buddy's hopping on. Let's go jump into league play. Let's try to go on some win streaks. Let's go real try hard. That was the fun of it. Or even if you're in a public match and you're playing against somebody that, you know, it's like you and your buddy, and then a clan of like 4 guys comes in. So effectively, if everybody on either team is a wash, it's like, okay, me and my buddy, or if I have multiple buddies, but usually just be me and my one other friend, are playing against a clan of 4. So it's like, we know our backs are up against the wall because they're a bigger clan than us. But, you know, we're still trying our asses off in a public match, and it would be fun that way. Because then you could talk shit back and forth, the lobbies wouldn't disband, and you could talk shit for 2 hours. You could play against each other and just go at it. And now it's like you have to be playing an MLG match every single time, or you're a loser. Effectively, is what they want to make you feel like. Like, oh, you want to beat up against randoms? It's not what we're doing here. We're just trying to have fun and play a game. And so I've never seen a more pathetic rollout in my life for a game. Like, you know, if you look at a car, for example, imagine you have a car. There's no seat belts, no airbags. The seat is made out of concrete, and the tires are made out of a rubber that deteriorates in a month. Every month you got to get new tires. Imagine that's a Chevy, okay? Now imagine people complain to Chevy for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years that you changed all these features, and our cars are blowing up. We're dying. Nobody can drive down the road without getting in a wreck. And Chevy just chooses to ignore this for 10 years. I'm sorry, Chevy. You're just my victim right now, but I love you. I actually drive a GMC, so it's part of Chevy. GMC owns, GM. But for the sake of this argument. And then after 10 years of complaining, Chevy finally comes back and they say, you know what? We're going to give you that comfy seat. We're going to put seatbelts and airbags back on the car. Your tires, you won't need to get tires, maybe once every 5 to 7 years, or whenever your tires, depending on how much you drive, you're going to have some nice tires. We're not going to give you these garbage tires that, they got to go out every month. Maybe tires were a bad example because, you get tires from a tire store, but you get my point. They add all these things back, and suddenly is everybody gonna be like, oh, wow, good job, Chevy. Thanks for giving us the features that our cars had 10 years ago. No, the point is no other business, no other industry has this pathetic of a fan base, this pathetic of a group of people that are a part of it. Have some balls. It's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You could literally use that Chevy, that car example for any other thing you could think of, and nobody would put up with it for 2 minutes. But somehow, you know what it's like? Call of Duty is like San Francisco, the city I have on my hat that's turned into nothing. It's turned into shit. I knew people that used to love going to San Francisco. They don't want to touch it. You want to know why? Because it's run by homeless people, crime everywhere. Every building is empty. Nobody wants to touch San Francisco. It's a nightmare. If you were in San Francisco and you put up a tent, you're good. You can just go in San Francisco, put up a tent everywhere, shit on the sidewalk. It's okay. But if you went and did that like in some city in Texas or wherever else, it doesn't have to be Texas. I live in California. I live about 2 hours from San Francisco. But I'm just saying there are many other cities, like Portland would be an example, or other cities, big cities that are kind of like San Francisco that are deteriorating. But there's other cities where if you did that, you'd get laughed out of the city, you'd get arrested, you'd get, they wouldn't put up with it. But somehow Call of Duty, and in this example, San Francisco, has gotten this untouchable aura around it where it's just horrible and nobody seems to care. And it's just allowed to just keep festering and it's a nightmare. Now, San Francisco is probably, a lot of people aren't working there anymore, and a lot of people are moving out, whereas Call of Duty still makes billions of dollars, so maybe that's where that comparison would fall through, but you get my point. I think it's pathetic. And I don't know how they keep getting away with adding back simple features to a game and getting praised for it. It's disgusting, and I hope the game sells 0 copies, except for the 1 copy that I know. I hope the game sells 12 copies. I'll be one of the 12, and I'll play like 1 match in the beta, and then I'll take mine back, and then it'll just sell 11 copies, and because there'll be 6v6 multiplayer, and it'll be 6 versus 5 forever, and a sad multiplayer lobby that nobody plays because the game's probably gonna suck. But maybe not. Maybe, like I said, these features will be nice. Maybe they'll rope me back into playing. But if they're skill-based matchmaking, I'm out. That's just gonna be what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Tap Rants. I had 2 things that I was pretty passionate about that I wanted to go off on today. If I had more news, more things that irritated me more often, I'd make one of these once a week. And to be fair, things do irritate me quite often, so I probably could make more of these. But I've kind of been, whatever with the gaming news as of late. But there is a lot of games coming out soon. Starfield's coming out soon. I don't know if I'm going to make videos on Starfield or kind of keep that one to myself. We'll see, but I'm excited. Either way, guys, if you enjoyed this episode of Tap Rants, give the video a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads. I'm Tap, I Play Games. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video.